I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And as we begin this hour, let me just lay on the record the work that foster parents around our country do. Amazing. Amazing. There are so many people sacrificing so much and giving so much to children who need it. It's awesome. It is incredibly awesome. And then those parents out there who adopt children who are looking for homes, looking for those forever homes. Amazing, absolutely amazing people, coast to coast in this country. I mean, there's so much good happening out there. Unfortunately, tonight, it's not about the good. It's not. It's about little Orrin and Orson. They were adopted by a young couple who had 4 other children at the time, 4 others, 2 biological, 2 that they had also adopted, now up to 6. But those 2 little boys are missing. There they are. I mean, how you could do anything other than just hug them, squeeze them, and take a million pictures of them, I don't know. But somehow, some way, they went missing. They've never been found. And now mom and dad, because they are mom and dad, once you adopt, you are mom and dad, have been charged with their murders. For those of you who don't know the story, Julie Janae has it for us tonight.
I don't understand. I just want my babies. If they find them, just give them back to me, please. That's all I want.
A desperate plea from a mother for her 2 young sons, Orrin, age 4, and Orson, age 3. Family members remember the brothers as happy babies who loved to laugh. They were reported missing on December 21st, 2020 by their adoptive parents.
Trezell West and Jacqueline West reported to the California City Police Department that the boys had disappeared from their backyard.
Trezell and Jacqueline West held a press conference 2 days later, asking for the public's help in finding the boys.
Tell us what happened the night the kids went missing.
My wife's inside. She was actually wrapping gifts, so we thought it was a good idea that our youngest 2 go outside and play with chalk on the back patio. I came back out. I didn't see them now. Asked my wife, did you see the boys? She said no. I started searching my backyard. I searched the whole thing. I realized that I left the gate open, and I panicked.
We just want to thank everybody.
We really want to thank you guys.
Please, if anybody has seen them, please call, let somebody know.
Some in the crowd listening to the Wests didn't like what they were hearing and began asking questions.
Y'all say y'all came out looking for the kids, and y'all got neighbors that say y'all ain't even came out looking for no kids.
The neighbors weren't out here.
We were looking.
We were looking.
I have 9 kids.
But they was outside in the backyard, and I was watching them.
Leave my kids unattended, not even for a minute.
The boys' biological mother, Ryan Dean, lost custody of them in 2016 after taking Orrin to the hospital for a broken leg. Authorities suspected her of child abuse. She attempted several times unsuccessfully to regain custody. Dean says during her visits with the kids, she noticed they were losing weight and had unexplained scratches.
If they find my kids, can they just give them back to me? Whatever I have to do to work on it, to get them. I have a home, I have a car, I have a job, I have money. I just hope they're okay.
News of the missing boys galvanized the community.
Where are the boys? No boys, no me! Where are the boys? No boys, no me!
And hundreds of people from around the country also joined in the effort to find the lost brothers.
There was some elements that stood out about the foster families' interviews that pretty much compelled me to participate and come out and do what we could to help find both of these boys.
Multiple searches turned up no sign of Orrin and Orson. In March, more than a year after police were contacted, adoptive parents Trezell and Jacqueline West were arrested.
I'm saddened to announce that the investigation has revealed that Orrin and Orson West are deceased. The investigation has also revealed that they died 3 months before their adoptive parents reported them missing.
They were charged with second-degree murder, child abuse, and false reporting of an emergency. The couple pleaded not guilty and deny any involvement in the boys' disappearance.
While the defendants in this case, Trezell and Jacqueline West, are presumed innocent, the securing of a grand jury indictment is a major step in ensuring that there will be justice for Orrin and Orson.
The bodies of these two little boys still have not been found, and their biological mother is left with an unimaginable void.
I miss their smile. I miss the way I used to play with them during visits. I miss just being there. I just miss being their mother, and it was taken from me.
All right, there's a trial going on. I'm going to bring in our special guest, Bakersfield, California. Reporter for 23 ABC KERO has been doing amazing work covering this story and now this trial. Veronica Morley is with us. Veronica, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let's start here. You know, I mean, we covered the opening statements, but it's been a while now. A lot has transpired in that courtroom. Give us sort of the rundown of some of the big points and some of the strongest evidence that prosecutors have presented inside that courtroom.
Yeah, Vinny, thank you. You know, it's like you guys have been saying, a lot of us going into this trial, we were wondering how the prosecution got to that conclusion of charging the parents with murder when the bodies were never found. And so throughout this trial, what we've come to learn is that the night that the boys were reported missing, police actually sent an officer to go interview their 4 other children. And it was through these interviews and through statements that they made that police began to suspect that Orrin and Orson were never even in Cal City. And just throughout the trial, we start to see more and more of them hearing from family members saying that they can't exactly remember the last time they saw the boys, that the family members who visited Cal City remember seeing many children, but they couldn't exactly pick Orrin and Orson out from the crowd. And then several neighbors also saying that while they saw many kids, they don't know if they saw the 2 little boys. And then we watched surveillance video from neighbors pointed at their house, and you don't see much about all of the children that are coming in and out.
It's amazing because we call them the Cal City Toddlers, but it's possible they were never even there because the family had moved from Bakersfield during COVID, like in September, to this house. So have they presented any evidence, maybe some forensic evidence, blood or something that would somehow indicate to this jury that a murder took place somewhere?
Well, what was the most shocking thing about the trial from the prosecution side was they had interviewed all of the West children on the days after their initial missing report, and through forensic interviews done with the eldest West child, he actually made allegations that one night he had heard strange noises coming from Orrin's bed, and that the next morning when he woke up, he saw Orrin with vomit surrounding him, and that his parents had actually told him Orrin had died. And in the recorded interview that was played in court, as the forensic interviewer asks him about what happened, the child says that he touched Orrin's body and he felt that it was cold. And at that moment, I mean, you could just hear gasps from the audience as they were listening to this recorded interview of this 10-year-old at the time.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so let's talk about the defense. Has the defense presented any evidence? Like, for instance, a photograph of these children in Cal City, a picture, some proof of life somewhere near the day that they reported them missing, because I think prosecutors' theory was these children were killed in September. They're not reported missing until December. Maybe a photograph from Halloween or a photograph from Thanksgiving or something. Was there anything that this defense presented in court as evidence that they're innocent, that they didn't do it, that maybe someone else did it, that they're telling the truth about them somehow walking through the gate?
You know, with as shocking as the evidence that the prosecution provided with those interviews from the children, the defense has also been able to pick apart a lot of that evidence and provide their own inconsistencies throughout the investigation, throughout these interviews. One of the most shocking things in the first days after opening statements was, as we heard from police officers who were investigating this case, we heard a lot about officers not writing reports, not collecting footage from a neighbor with surveillance cameras, or checking only one day instead of checking the entire months between September through December when the family was supposed to be living in Cal City. So it really pointed out some of the inconsistencies, and it really made it difficult. As far as forensic interviews, there's also a lot of inconsistencies that the defense was able to highlight as well when it came to testing DNA evidence in the Cal City home, in the couple's van. One thing that really stood out was an officer had initially testified that when he investigated the home, he didn't see any used diapers. That led him to believe that the babies were never in the Cal City home. But then evidence comes to light that, in fact, a used diaper had been collected that had been sitting in the trash for a year before it was collected and tested for DNA evidence. And when they tested it, they said that they weren't able to completely exclude whether it was Orrin's DNA on that diaper.
So, closing arguments, cameras will be back inside the courtroom?
Yeah, cameras will be back inside that courtroom. And I think the biggest thing that we're going to be hearing again is the prosecution really trying to drive down the idea that, as you said, there's not any photographic evidence of these boys. There's no reportable sightings of these boys, and the children's own testimony to officers back in 2020 where they were kind of confused and at some point saying that the boys never made it to Cal City. Whereas on the defense points, they're really going to tie down not only the lack of physical evidence and DNA evidence linking the boys to this, or linking the parents to this crime, but also pointing out the difficulties within these children's recorded interviews back in 2020. Because again, all the children, they were under 10 years old, and the defense really did their job at pointing out how difficult it can be interviewing a child at that age and how unreliable sometimes those memories can be.
Yeah, every prosecution is difficult. This one's a little bit more difficult. But it should be very easy to prove that these children were alive. Veronica, Morley, great work out there. I'm sure we'll be calling you again. Hopefully you can join us again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's bring in our think tank. Join us tonight in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey. Criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III. Joining us from Stamford, Connecticut, criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland. And in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, family law attorney Jennifer Brandt. Great to see everyone. Al, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with Darnell. If you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Okay,
No
Darnell,
problem.
easiest case in the world for the defense to win. I'll tell you what, I have a 4-year-old granddaughter. I have a picture of her like every day in her life, okay? Every single day of her life. Not just holiday, every single day. And it's because, you know, children, you love them. They do amazing things. They're so cute. Oh, I want to remember this moment forever. Any parent will take at least one picture of their child in 3 months. And if you have 2, you would take at least 2 pictures in 3 months. They presented 0. They want to rely upon a 1-year-old dirty diaper as proof of life. Come on, Darnell. Come on.
Yeah.
This should be the easiest case if they were factually innocent.
Well, it definitely won't make it just easy, because as you know, there's a lot of things that go into this. As we just heard from the correspondent, the defense is picking holes in the prosecution case.
Blah, 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 blah. I hear that in every single trial from everything. Blah, 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 blah. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. You know what? These parents didn't take one picture of their 3- and 4-year-old children? Are you kidding me? What parent in America, raise your hand right now. You have a 3 or 4-year-old. You don't take one picture with your camera that you carry around with you 24 hours a day, taking 1,500 selfies? Give me a break, Darnell. This isn't about what the prosecution didn't do. To me, this case is about what the parents didn't do. If they're innocent, don't take one picture. Look at them.
That's the truth, but what's going to break your heart is if you get a verdict like that Florida verdict that you always talk about.
Stop. Okay.
There's that Florida verdict
I
again.
know. Al, am I crazy? Is a jury going to have some common sense here? Is the jury going to say, listen, you're a parent of these 2 kids. You're not going to take a picture of them? That's how easy it is to prove proof of life. Prosecutors were specific. They said the murders took place in September. They were reported missing in December.
That's a very valid point, Vin. Okay, I agree with you. There should have been something there. There's got to be more proof of life than a diaper. The testimony of the other children that were there is provocative. It's certainly going to be something that a jury is going to be holding on to and thinking about. This is just a horrible, horrible case. But I always get nervous about children's testimonies. I just think about Fells Acres daycare case.
Yeah, but what was specific?
40 years ago.
Veronica told us that one of the children testified that the body was cold. Would a 10-year-old really know to say, "Hey, the body was cold when I touched it"?
See, that's a problem. That was the whole Fells Acres case, which was that they were putting thoughts into these kids' minds, and then they were aping the testimony. And that's what they ended up convicting these people, which I believe are up for a pardon now. But it's that's the kind of danger you run when you're trying to use small children to try to prove your case. But I think you hit the nail on the head. The proof of life has to come from mom and dad, okay? Even stepmom and dad, or even foster mom and dad.
No, they adopted them. They adopted them. Well, changed their names, changed the children's names.
It's what it's all relative with regards to that. And that proof of life is pictures with all the kids. It doesn't have to necessarily be the picture of just the one. It could be the picture of all of them in a group together.
All 6.
Exactly. Sitting at the dinner table, going to a restaurant, doing this, doing that, some activities together. That's the key to the proof of life. So even though you have, what I would call sketchy testimony with regards to the kids as to what they actually knew, I think that
and by the way, right out, they could have that same 10-year-old if testify about, oh yeah, I was playing with my brothers. But that doesn't exist either. So come on, give me a break here. Give me a break.
So they failed to put the one piece of testimony up there that would have maybe sunk the case for the prosecution.
Jennifer Brandt, the other part of this is, I believe, and I remember in other times covering this story, that somehow, some way, California had given these parents some sort of financial incentive, and there was a financial incentive for the county also to have these children adopted out. And that's the sick part of all of this, is that they overlooked the best interests of the children, and they're looking at the best interests of getting some money from the federal government.
Oh, well, of course, Vinny. That gives them a motive to want to deny that anything happened to the children, to not report that anything happened to the children, to keep on acting like the children are still alive. We just saw it with Lori Daybell. People do that. They want money. The kids mean money. So if the kid is deceased, if something happened to the child, there's no more money. So it's in their best interest to say, hey, these children are around, they're alive, they're with us, they moved with us. There would be no reason for them to say otherwise. But I agree with you. All they had to do was produce some pictures, to produce some information, produce some other proof other than an old diaper that these children were alive. And, it would be interesting to see, did they take pictures of their other kids and not these 2? Or, could they have said, hey, we just are not into taking pictures. We don't have the resources for that. We don't have phones or something.
I'm sorry. Everybody has a phone now. everybody, like everybody.
Yeah, you're right,
From the
you're
time they're
right,
in
you're
fourth
right.
grade, they've got phones now. The other thing about this case is it's just the story was ridiculous from the beginning. If you look at the land and where this guy said he was, and how like two little kids are just going to scamper out and escape. Give me a break. And there was no one in the area to abduct them. Everyone in that neighborhood had surveillance videos. No, just, it's insane. But we'll see. We'll see what the jury does. Darnell warned me already. Thank you, Darnell, for trying to help prepare me for what could happen here.